Hello viewers, today's vlog we are going to discuss in detail about this war which is going on in Ukraine for the last 2.5 years. We will discuss about the battlefield situation, and most importantly we are going to discuss about the political situation in the US and how the changing political dynamics in the US will have a significant bearing in the war and how it will take its course in the next few months. The first thing I want to discuss about in this war, the recent strategic shift, I would say, is the use and the announcement of the Orheshnik missile system launched by Putin. So just a kind of a few technicalities before we delve into the political impact of this new missile system. This system, which is named quite remarkably as Oreshnik, Russian word for hazelnut tree, this missile has a characteristics that it actually devolves into or bifurcates into various clusters. It can lead up to 4 to 6 clusters, and each cluster can then subdivide itself into 6 more subclusters, which means that when it is fired, it actually devolves into about 30 to 40 branches of small cluster missiles close to the target. That makes this missile system quite unique, and that makes this missile system very difficult to intercept. So that is one of the characteristics. And the second characteristics of this missile system is that it has what it's called a hypersonic missile. To put it in Vladimir Putin's own terms, it has a speed of Mach 10, which means it is very, very difficult to intercept. And as of now, there is no European air defense system. I'm not sure about the US systems, but there is no European air defense system that has the capacity to intercept these missiles. So how does it impact, or how does it shift the strategic paradigm in this war? It actually makes, or actually gives Vladimir Putin a kind of an ace to hit any target without any impunity in Europe. It is not, initially it was thought by various experts that it is an intercontinental missile system, but as Vladimir Putin told to the world audience himself, that it is not an intercontinental ballistic missile, it's an intermediate range missile system, meaning thereby it has a range of about 3,400 miles, making it almost, it can track or it can hit any target in the European landmass. Now let's move on to the political aspect of it, the strategic aspect of this missile system. You see, this missile system was announced or revealed to the world, which has actually shook the European elites and the US elites after the provocation of the US ATACMS, which was launched by the Ukrainian military inside Russia in the Bryansk region and in Kursk region, and the use of the British-made Storm Shadow scalp missile systems inside Russia. That provoked Vladimir Putin and its establishment to launch this missile system. It was tested only in the Dnipro city of Ukraine without the use of warheads, just to bring home the point that this new missile technology cannot be intercepted and the West has no answers to this technology. Vladimir Putin has also said that there are other various similar systems with different characteristics that has a hypersonic missile speed and which also cannot be intercepted. That makes Vladimir Putin and Russia militarily, strategically at a stronger footing compared to the West, which is already struggling in the battlefield in the man-to-man army battles in the eastern Ukraine. So that is the first thing I wanted to cover about this Oreshnik missile system, this launch of this new missile system, its characteristics, and how it changes the paradigm, the strategic paradigm of this war in Ukraine. The second thing I wanted to discuss about this Ukraine war issue is the statement which Vladimir Putin made in the Collective Security Treaty Organization Summit, which was held in Russia. You see, he said something which has significant political implication as far as the upcoming negotiations are concerned. See, it said that the Ukrainian authorities, he is referring to Vladimir Zelensky, did not go to the elections. He said that they are totally illegitimate today. And from a purely legal point of view, bearing in mind that Putin is a lawyer himself, they do not even have the right to give orders to the armed forces, since they are usurpers of powers. They have pushed the people to their death, meaning Zelensky's regime, and have driven them into the battle. For what? He says, adds further, should forcibly mobilize Ukrainian military personnel and officers give their lives today. For the Bandera neo-Nazi regime that has taken up resistance in Kiev, for its leaders who have already lost their legitimacy. You see, what Vladimir Putin is trying to suggest in this piece or in this speech, that the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, will not be negotiating with Zelensky's regime. Why? Because they have lost any legitimacy to sign any document or to execute any document after the negotiations. The important thing is that Zelensky or the Ukrainian government has postponed the elections which was scheduled to occur last year. And the Ukrainian Rada, the Ukrainian parliament, had announced that elections will probably occur in February 2025. You see, January 20, Donald Trump is going to take charge, and if it is possible, likely, that Ukrainian Rada would announce the new elections. And with the current polling ratings of Zelensky, he's standing on 16%. There is significant likelihood that both the American leadership and the Ukrainian leadership would be completely different from what when the war was started in Ukraine. That would be an opportunity for the West itself to take or to negotiate with Vladimir Putin with fresh minds, with fresh leaderships, and with different perspectives. The third thing I want to discuss about in this vlog is the choosing of Keith Kellogg, the ex-Lieutenant General of the US Army, as an aide, as an envoy to Donald Trump in this war in Ukraine to negotiate an end of this conflict. See, Keith Kellogg had stated prior to this election that he will help Donald Trump in negotiating, in helping to end this conflict in Ukraine. He had stated in a podcast that he had plans, secret plans, which he can't disclose now, but he had also stated that he is working on a 4-point agenda. And the most significant part of this agenda is to basically make sure that NATO would hold off entry of Ukraine in the alliance. That is one of the preconditions which Vladimir Putin had stated that is required before even the negotiations would start. And that is the reason why I think Keith Kellogg can play an important role. J.D. Vance, who is also a very strong advocate of ending this war in Ukraine, had also stated that Ukraine cannot be a part of NATO in the distant future, number one. And number two, he had also stated that based on the ground realities, it is very important for Ukraine to understand that the Russian annexed territory, the territory which the Russian military has gained in the last 2.5 years, including Crimean Peninsula, have to be ceded by Ukraine, because that territory, I'm afraid, is lost to Ukraine because of the dominance of the Russian military. So if these two conditions are accepted in some form or another, I think it is very likely that we are possibly ending towards an end to this conflict, a negotiated settlement where the current line of battle would probably be the new borders of Russia and Ukraine, with an assurance to Russian state that Ukraine would not be a part of NATO. Finally, I want to talk about the current battle conditions. Just yesterday, the Russian military had launched about 97 missiles and about 90 drones in Ukraine. Why? What were the targets of these attacks? The targets of these attacks were the energy infrastructure in Ukraine, all over Ukraine. According to the Ministry of Energy in Ukraine, almost 40% of the energy capacity or infrastructure has been destroyed by this war. And considering the looming winter, and Ukrainian winter is extremely wicked, I'm afraid there would be mounting political challenges for the Ukrainian regime, Zelensky's regime, to continue this long any further. So based on all these facts that I have laid out to you, it is very likely, considering the situation, the battlefield situation, that this war is likely to end in a defeat of NATO and a prevailing of the Russian interest in Ukraine. You won't like this fact, but that is the ground reality, and that is what the current situation lies. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you like, please subscribe and share this video. Thank you so much.